Welcome to the Empowered Money Girl, where we break down the barriers to financial confidence, celebrate women's wins, and reveal the secrets to living boldly and well. I'm your host, Josette Mandela, and today's guest is Debbie Seidel, founder of Dental Practice Solutions and CEO of Celebrity Smiles Club. With more than 26 years of experience in the dental industry, she's known for helping dental professionals strengthen profitability, improve case acceptance, and build thriving practices with confidence and leadership. She's also an international speaker and the creator of Dental Consultant Academy, where she developed extensive training programs for dental professionals looking to grow as consultants and industry leaders. If you're ready for a conversation about leadership growth and creating lasting impact in your industry, you're going to love this episode. Please welcome the insightful, accomplished, and empowering Debbie Seidel.
Thank you so much, Josette. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us. And can you take us back to the beginning? What was your path like to where you are today?
Well, back to the beginning was just quite a while ago. I was 12 years old and we were having career day at my junior high. And I had to do a report on what I wanted to be when I grow up. So my dad helped me choose a dental hygienist. It was on the cover of the Los Angeles Times, the View section. And what a great career this was for a woman. And so I interviewed a dental hygienist, and then we had career day where we went on a bus to some universities. I chose USC. I ended up going there for college, and I loved being on campus so much that I taught there in the dental hygiene program. Unfortunately, sad story, they have discontinued the dental hygiene school there. But for quite a few years, I was there helping the dental hygiene students, the senior students, with their mock boards, clinical mock boards. And I loved it so much, but I didn't get paid a lot of money. And I drove 2 hours from Orange County to Los Angeles. And my husband said, "You're president of the Orange County Dental Hygienists. You're making a lot of money for your dental hygiene component. So why don't you take your efforts and start making money for yourself?" So long story short, I did start my own consulting business, which you know is Dental Practice Solutions. I really wanted to consult, but was told that we needed to start out speaking. And I didn't have anybody that knew who I was other than at the university. So we actually had these trifold brochures and we sent them all over California to registered dental professionals. And at that point, the internet wasn't where it is today. And there weren't as many people who wanted to be a speaker or consultant. So I had a room full of people and I could share my message, but I didn't know what my message was. So I won't even go into that. But by 2002, I knew my message, and I was at this point speaking at all the national meetings. And it just evolved into consulting. The pandemic hit, and now I'm full speed ahead speaking at many dental conferences throughout the United States right now.
That's pretty cool. And so you said that in the beginning, you didn't really know what your message was, and then you figured that out. So what was your message that you're now getting so many speaking engagements?
Thank you so much for asking that question. This helps us segue into the bigger story. My mother had her mitral valve replaced in 2002, and she did not recover very well. Number one, she wasn't a very good patient. She didn't follow doctor's instructions, but she finally came in to see me as her hygienist. It had been 2 years.
Oh.
And when I was looking around in her mouth, on the lower left side, you know, she never had any gum problems previously, but today there were some really bad areas. Inflammation, it looked like infection, a lot of bleeding, and it was mainly in the lower left molar area. So I had my doctor who I worked for take a look, and he said, "You have a perioendo abscess." What that means is she had an abscess in two different places, the gums, excuse me, and the root of the tooth. So we
Oh,
extracted the tooth. They needed to put a bridge in, and she really needed to have some more gum treatment by me, but she just was never well enough. For 2 months, she struggled with what the doctors thought was the flu. And I was getting ready for my first trip to go to Canada outside of the US. It was my first time I was gonna go to outside the US in '02. And my mom, they called me from this hospital where my mom lived in Murrieta, California, and they said, "You better get down here. Your mom's had a hemorrhagic stroke on the left side of her brain. So
oh,
follow me." She had this tooth infection, and now within a couple months, she's not feeling well and she has a hemorrhagic stroke. And I go there and she's like almost comatose. And she's like, "Debbie, you got it. I know you're," she did know that I was supposed to leave in a couple days to go to Canada. "You got to go. You got to go. Just leave me be. I'm really tired." And so I went on my trip to Canada. First time ever speaking to a large group of dentists outside the US. It all went well. But when I came back, my sister and brother had flown in from other states where they lived, and we had to make the decision. She was on life support, and we had to make the
oh,
decision that she was not going to recover. And if she did recover, she would be a vegetable. She just continued to
oh.
get worse while I was gone. So she ended up dying. And, you know, imagine how I took you through that. It's, at this point in time, we're thinking that maybe the mouth is connected to the body.
Mm.
But, people still were like, "Debbie, I just don't know. You got to be careful with what you're saying." And I would work in dental offices. At this point, I was working part-time in a dental office, and then I would temp in other offices, and doctors would say, "Stop telling my patients that their mouth is connected to their body. You're scaring them." And I want you to know that since 2000, and now we're in 2026, Josette, haven't you heard the mouth is connected to the body, and that even pregnant women, if they have inflammation, if they have gingivitis in their mouth, that they're most likely to have a low weight, early term baby. That we now know that what's happening in the mouth year after year, that cascade of bleeding gums
Mm.
and inflammation and loose teeth, and where your gums have receded, that word. We
Mhm.
now know that it contributes, it doesn't cause, it contributes to dementia, Alzheimer's disease.
Oh.
There's evolving research on this specific topic, not just heart attack, stroke, diabetes, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis. But as of 2019, I've been fed so much evidence-based research on the connection to dementia that I have my most popular courses are on the mouth and how it contributes, an unhealthy mouth contributes to dementia, Alzheimer's disease. And my message has, you see how it's evolved, it's just really become an important message. And this year alone, I've been taking a tally of when I speak, there'll be 100 people in there, and I say, "How many of you will share this message that the mouth is connected to the body, that we're not just cleaning their teeth, that we're helping our patients live a longer, healthier life, and we want to put a halt to the inflammation and the disease in your mouth because it can contribute to heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's disease."
Wow.
And they raised their hand. Hundreds so far. We're now in the middle of May. And it's so exciting to me. I don't want to stop. I have no end in date. There's no day where I'll end doing what I'm doing because it's exciting to me that I've been able to help, literally help millions of people around the world live a longer, healthier life. And mainly it's by sharing this message with my dental colleagues who are coming to these courses.
That's amazing. And so in the beginning though, did you get any pushback from some of the dentists saying, yeah, no, I don't see hygienist being the answer. it's something else. It can't be just the hygienist.
The pushback that I got a lot of in the early 2000s was dentists telling me, stop. You're scaring my patients. Stop saying that.
Oh.
And the jury's not still out. We know if you go right now to Google and you search the mouth connected to and put in heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and Alzheimer's, put those in there and you'll find pages of evidence-based research. Now, if you're looking at evidence-based research and you're not used to reading it, I want you to know the last line of every conclusion in evidence-based research says more research is still needed, and then some dentists will take off running with that. We still don't know this. It's like, if you read evidence-based research, they're going to tell you in the last line, that's like their legal
Right.
clause there at the end of the research.
So basically you just said, no, this is an important message and I'm going to say it. And so it sounds like the dentist recognized that it was important, and yet they kept saying, you're scaring people, so we kind of gloss over that.
Yes. And then there's this other situation where still today, especially with dental hygienists, they say insurance won't pay for it. So I don't want to tell them. And I was recently, a few months ago, somewhere, a dentist was there and he was very angry. He said, stop telling us what to do for gum treatment because our patients do what their insurance wants and they will not do the treatment. So stop talking about it. Honestly, don't know why he brought his entire team to the course because that's what the course was about. Those were the course objectives, but maybe they just wanted their CE credits. But anyways, yeah, I still do get some pushback, but I say, what harm are we going to do if we share with our patients that the mouth is connected to the body, that bleeding gums year after year can contribute to what harm are we doing?
And that's the really crazy thing. And like you say, every insurance company has different rules on what they'll cover and what they won't cover. And it was, I want to say it was like 2022 when I was working at a corporate company where they finally decided that what you were saying in relation to pregnant women. So they were very specific about what they would cover extra cleanings for. It was
Oh,
pregnant women and diabetes. If you were on insulin, uh, diabetics, or you were pregnant women, they would agree to pay for 4 cleanings a year. And at the time, I really didn't understand. It sounded like a good thing to me, but I didn't understand this connection.
well, that's very interesting what you just said because most diabetics on insulin, most are type 1. And the situation that's different with type 1 to type 2, type 2 diabetics are the ones that are very at risk for dementia.
Oh,
So type 2 diabetics are the ones most at risk for dementia. And the part of the reason is because usually type 2 diabetics don't even get diagnosed for, they say, about 7 years. And then when they do get diagnosed, they go in and out of being controlled or not controlled. But type 1 diabetics are diagnosed at an earlier age, and there's something catastrophic that usually happens, and they're diagnosed very easy. They know right away. We're type 2, and it's really sad because a lot of my friends were older now,
Mm.
especially my girlfriends. They are borderline diabetes. So what does that mean? That means that your glucose is spiking throughout the day, and those spikes, imagine a fire, flames.
Mm.
And what happens when embers keep sparking? What happens when embers keep sparking? What can happen?
Well, it could turn into a full-blown fire.
Exactly. And so this is why type 2 diabetes, even when you're borderline, you got to get that under control, because those spikes of inflammation in your blood are what contribute to type 2 to dementia and Alzheimer's. You see the relationship there.
Mm.
And so it's not as prevalent for type 1 diabetics, but we're all at risk. And yet there are so many I'm getting off topic, but I love talking about prevention of dementia and Alzheimer's. I love talking about it. There's so much, a wealth of emerging research, and it's every single month there's something new that we discover to prevent it.
And I think with as many cases of dementia that's showing up, understanding what could be underlying causes and helping people really recognize that, hey, it could be something as simple as brushing my teeth more often or seeing the hygienist more often to make sure that my teeth are really doing well and I don't have something underlying going on that I'm just not recognizing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you built this business in a very specific niche. Was there ever a moment when in the beginning where you were thinking, I don't know if this is going to work?
Many times. Yes, many times. Oh gosh, back in '07, there was a we called it a pandemic. There was an economic decline.
Mhm.
And dentists would refer to it as a pandemic because their patients were trying to save their way to prosperity by canceling their dental appointments because they lost their job or they thought they didn't have enough money to pay for the copay or whatever. We were in a huge crisis. Do you remember that?
I uh, well, I remember it more along the lines of the real estate crash, but I never kind of thought about what about other things like you say, it's I don't know why, but for a lot of people, yes, dentistry seems to be one of those put it at the bottom of the pile things.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So they would, they would call, my phone was ringing off the hook with dentists in a panic. And they would say this exact phrase. They would say, Debbie, look at the hemorrhage in my schedule. And they would show me their schedule with open holes.
Hmm.
So that's where I created this, what I'm now calling Celebrity Smiles, where we offered them, and we didn't have the technology with the lights and the mouthpiece with the lights to accelerate the whitening process, but they had to make a tray, and then I had access to these syringes of whitening, and we created this whole system for their patients to come in. When they came back, they got free teeth whitening. The problem is the doctor had to take the impressions, and then
Hmm.
patients didn't want to come back to pick up their trays. So yes, yeah, that's the answer to your question. Yes.
So you help other dentists grow their revenue. Um, So what has building that whole business out taught you about money and security and financial independence?
That is a great question. I think money is a mindset. And I have, back when I first started out, I didn't have a mindset. I just did it. And then slowly but surely over the last 26 years, they think it's so cool to be a consultant and a speaker. And they think that's what they want to do. I've had a lot of I hate that word competition, but Everybody wants to do this. And I think that there was a phase, I know that there was a phase in some point in my career here of 26 years where, and especially in the last economic decline of 2020, there were so many people that came back from that pandemic of 2020 and wanted to do what I'm doing. There are a lot of people who want to go to conferences and speak. And I don't want to get off topic, but you can get yourself worked up with this mindset that you've got a lot of competition.
Mm.
And it's when I started to really feel passion for what I do. This information that I'm sharing right now on the prevention of dementia, it's every month that somebody wants this information. Some dental association, dental hygienists in the United States have been the most open to hearing the message to share with their patients. So every month there's some dental hygienist association or dental hygiene society that wants the information. And it's a mindset, but it's also knowing what is your area of expertise that nobody else has. So I study with a group of neurologists every month. So our next one is on June 8th. And they're neurologists from Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, the University of North Carolina, and the Tri-Cities there. We all meet and they share the latest research. So it's that passion that helps. Does that answer did you
Yeah,
get an answer for that?
absolutely. Now, you're saying that the dental hygienists are the ones that are definitely kind of pushing this and obviously letting the dentists know we think this is a good thing. Now, it seems like on the other hand, the dentists are saying, no, 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 my real issue is getting new patients. So how do you balance that when you walk into a practice? What do you see that they're not seeing?
Mhm. Well, first of all, I want to say something. You and a lot of people use this word pushing. And that's something I learned early on is we don't want to push our patients.
Mhm.
So I do realize that patients feel like we're trying to sell them a bill of goods. And that's one of the first things I notice. Patients, it's their perception.
Okay.
So I learned something probably about 5 years ago. It's called motivational interviewing. And so I've been teaching that for the last 3 years. And motivational interviewing is about establishing rapport. It's creating a relationship with your patients. It's about active listening. And the ultimate result is that patients want what they need and they stop feeling pushed. So you're right that I think you kind of nailed it with that word push. I notice that patients feel pushed. And it's because dental professionals, they run on a treadmill, and dental hygienists feel stressed that they have to meet the numbers, daily production goals. And I don't think about how much I do think about. I have goals for myself and how much I need to take into my business. And every dentist needs to know that. But when we love what we do, we stop the pushing and we start to share how much we care. We have the passion and the enthusiasm for what we do. And when people say, when I'm in the office and I hear them saying, and when the doctor initially calls me, they're saying, I feel burnt out. I feel burnt out. I feel burnt out. You need to stop saying that. Because if you can, like, why, and I always take the dentist back. Why did you get into dentist? Why did you want to be a dentist? Why did you want to be a dental hygienist? Why do you want to be a dental assistant? Why do you want to manage the insurance? And when you get back to the why, and when the doctor can share the why, why they're doing what they're doing and the team can collaborate. Now they love what they do and the patients come and they stop feeling the stress. They start to matter.
And that makes so much sense. Is that, I mean, that could be true in any business, but definitely you hear statistics, and I never really thought about why are dentists on fairly high on the list of professions that commit suicide.
Mm.
But it makes sense if they're constantly on this treadmill thinking, how do I give more, or whatever they're thinking to get more patients in the door, and they're not really buying into, maybe, or they don't see like the picture that you're showing, where if you're sharing information, explaining to the patients, these are the different things that we can do, this is why you want to do it, this is my why, and this is, I want to share that with you so that you understand that I'm not just pushing something for the sake of pushing it. Here's what it can do for you, and let the patient really recognize, hey, there's something going on here. I need to talk to my professional and do what they're saying. There's a reason for this.
Yes, and Josette, you asked me that question, and it's a deep answer. What do I recognize? I mean, there are a lot of things that I recognize, but one of them is, they feel like they have to meet the goal, and that's why the doctors call me, is because they're not meeting their goal. They want to make more money, and
Mhm.
it organically happens. Just for example, I don't have to push to speak on dementia. They are hearing about it. People are hearing about it, dental professionals. And when you understand and love the power in what we're doing as dental professionals is not cleaning teeth or treating a tooth. It goes way beyond that. And when you embrace that, you stop feeling the burnout. And when you start to love what you do, it automatically flows.
I love that. Automatically flows. And that's, I mean, that's true of anything, is that when you do what you love, the phrase is something along the lines of, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah. And I think people, a lot of dentists, I remember one of the first positions I had in LA as a dental hygienist, every patient needed a crown. When the doctor came to do an exam, every patient needed a crown. And why? Why do you think they all needed a crown?
Well, the cynic in me says because the doctor was looking for more income.
They thought that was the easiest way to make income.
Hmm.
That's how they could meet and exceed their goals, was every tooth was a crown. I mean, it was all day long. And that's not what it's about. That's going to make you work harder when you bring your patient into the loop, when you create a partnership with your patient, take them down a journey. Imagine the Wizard of Oz,
Hmm.
there's a yellow brick road. We're coming down the yellow brick road together. And along the way, showing your patient what's going on and help them take ownership of what's happening in their mouth. This flips everything. Let them be in charge.
That makes so much sense. And wow, let the patient be in charge. And again, it helps to have someone like you give them the education so that they can be in alignment with that, and recognize that no, everyone is not a crown. This one is a bridge. This one is a extra cleanings. This one is whatever the other thing is that the other one needs, and work with the patient to come up with a plan and explain the plan in a way that they can understand.
I want to clarify this because it's in a way you said what I was thinking I need to clarify.
Okay.
When we're taking them down the yellow brick road, we have to establish rapport. We have to create a partnership with the patient. And we have to and doing that it means that they most likely trust us, and we want to guide our patient with that partnership to make the right decision. So when I say let the patient be in charge, hopefully we have, especially using motivational interviewing, we've put the patient in charge, but they've also in the process taken ownership of their mouth. And not every patient, but most patients will want what we have shown them is best for them. And notice how I say show them, because pictures paint 1,000 words. And it's so easy for us to take pictures and show you what's happening along the way.
Oh, I love that. Taking pictures to show them this is where you're going. And again, not sending really gross pictures to really unmotivate them. You want to make it clear this is the progression, but we can stop it here, and following this path, things are going to get better for you.
Right, right. And one of the pushbacks I get at meetings, every meeting I go to and speak, is that the dental professionals are not identifying moderate to severe gum inflammation. We call it gingival inflammation. They're not identifying it early. Of course, early localized is great, but localized, it could happen to anybody. I've had some localized bleeding, but it's the moderate to severe, like 10 teeth have bleeding points. And that's when we need to intervene, because here's another phrase that I teach is prevention may cost a little bit of money. Prevention usually is covered by insurance, and it may cost, if they don't have insurance, $120. Okay. But once they get into treating disease, it's so much more costly.
Mm-hmm. And in that case, it could actually cause you serious harm. Like you said, your mother ran into the hemorrhagic stroke over time, and different things like that if you don't take care of your teeth.
I've been in dental hygiene, been a dental hygienist for 40 years now, and we have to get our own. I think today, in today's world, dentists who are student dentists, student dental hygienists, we have to find our own patients. And I'm here as somebody who can tell you that my friends who volunteered to be my patient, they didn't. I've moved around over the years, and they haven't been following me as their hygienist. But when they came in back in the 80s, they came in with bleeding gums, profuse bleeding. And then I didn't know what I know now. And we didn't even understand, why are their gums bleeding? Back in the 80s and the early 90s, my colleagues, I worked with a group of hygienists, we would look at each other and say, can you believe it? Like, why are his gums always bleeding? And those friends of mine that were my patients with profuse bleeding gums back in the 80s, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, one's had a heart attack, one's had a stroke, one has type 2 diabetes, and another one of my good friends, they have Alzheimer's disease today.
Oh.
And I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's anecdotal. I think it's in alignment with the evidence-based research that we have available at our fingertips.
So if you had one message you could give to women listening today about owning their own independence, what would it be?
And are you talking about financial independence?
Um, Financial, yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, I told you this story about my parents. Well, my dad was the one that was reading the Los Angeles Times in the View section about the dental hygienist. And they said, dental hygienists make good money. They can be a, a wife, they can be a single woman, and you'll probably be able to buy your own house. You don't have to be dependent on a man. They didn't want me to be dependent on a man. But here's the problem that went wrong for me. Nobody told me the sky's the limit and you can do whatever you want. I was put into a box. I mean, my parents didn't intentionally do this. They did their very best. And I had really great parents. I'm glad that a lot of my friends, my girlfriends, their parents told them, you don't go to college. Women don't go to college. You know, we grew up in the 70s. And that was kind of a backwards way of thinking, but their parents told them that and they didn't go to college. But my parents were very much, you go to college. But the highest point for me was becoming a dental hygienist. And I did not believe in myself. I did not even think that I could ever make it through dental hygiene school. And I think my message to women is the sky is the limit. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. You have to believe in yourself. Unless you're physically disabled, mentally disabled, if you put your mind to it, if you know that there's something you love and you don't feel like you're running on a treadmill doing it, shoot for the stars because maybe you'll land on the moon and still you're up high.
I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And a huge thank you for Debbie Seidel for sharing her story and the shoot for the moon analogy. If you found value in this conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the Empowered Money Girl with your friends. The more we share these stories, the more women we can empower to live boldly, both financially and in every part of life. Until next time, keep thriving. And remember, your journey to empowerment starts with you.